being human first is the most important, is the most valuable, is the most direct.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, that's the part that, like, really, really, really holds weight because I can't take my money to the grave.
You can't.
You know what I'm saying? I
It
can't
stays here.
It stays
in physical
here
form.
in physical form, whatever that stuff is. So I'm like, these things are good, but, you know, get to know me.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And I think that's what keeps me with that perspective. It's like, no matter what, walk into every room itself.
Wow.
You know what I'm saying? Every single time. So be as transparent, as honest as you decide to be.
Yeah.
You know, there's levels to it because there's certain information that just doesn't need to be out there. Of course, you gotta have that privacy, right? But at the same time, it's like when I walk into a room, I already know what I'm willing to talk about, what I'm not willing to talk about.
What you're not willing to talk about. And what you're not gonna sidestep.
Exactly. And what I'm not gonna tiptoe around. So seeing that would help me be that. Which then helped the conversations in corporate rooms where you're not nervous, you're not feeling timid, like, okay, I'm in here with Nike or something.
Yeah, how do I have to act?
Be yourself.
Be yourself.
They brought you in here for a reason. That's fine. And whether they value it or not, it's okay.
It's okay.
I'll tell you this, I don't know how much time we got, but
we good. Take your time. Don't feel, get off whatever you want to get.
I'll tell you this. 2016, I had a job at Reebok. I was under a 1-year contract. I helped do marketing rollouts for the Kendrick Lamar campaign when he first got his sneaker deal with them. They flew me to the UK for the first time, like all this stuff. So I was traveling a little bit. It actually got cut short. And it's funny because when we came in, I remember the first time they flew me to Boston, go to the campus, you know, saw this extravagant thing of like, oh, Boston, this crazy campus, the whole nine, right? You're like, damn, like I'm in these offices, whatever. So we're having these conversations, they're talking about why they chose us. They're like, yo, we don't want to like go to the celebrities for influencers. This is when influencers just start hitting the...
Digital influencers was like popping right then.
It was, oh my goodness. That's my first time ever hearing that term. And I remember thinking it was so dope. I'm like, oh, this is dope. This is people who aren't celebrities but get treated like celebrities. Nah, real shit. And I was like, oh, damn, this is fire.
I remember this era.
Bro, I was like, oh, this is something I want to be a part of. I had no clue this was like a global conversation. I'm thinking like Reebok struck gold with something, right? I'm in the room.
Yeah.
And, you know, we're having this conversation. And they're like, yo, you know, just like hyping us up, the whole nine, blah, blah, blah. And like talk about what they want to do, how they want to do it, how basically you can be your full self and this, and this, and this. Just whatever they were talking about. Just general, you know, corporate conversation. But they were selling me, not gonna lie. Maybe they sold me too much though. Because I'm like, oh, I could be myself and it's gonna work.
I could be me.
I came in there being unapologetically me and got clipped. I got clipped for a bunch of things and ideas that I had to do with community and like just things that I stood for. I'm like, y'all picked me. I didn't apply for this job. Y'all hit me up.
Right.
You know, y'all interviewed me and I was honest.
I was honest about
the way
in
I
my
am with
interview.
you right now was me in the interview.
Right.
I wasn't arrogant. I wasn't cocky. I was just like honest. I was just being very me. Just like, yeah, like, you know, this is what I do. This is how I do it, blah, blah, blah. And the same things that they brought me in for, they clipped me for. And I found that very interesting because I'm like, damn, like, at that time when I was having those conversations, like, you know, the community components weren't attached to it. They were just selling. They were just trying to sell you. And now you see what an influencer is now. It's like, that's the last thing I want to be a part of.
Of course.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I want to have influence, but don't throw the R at the end.
Right,
you know what I'm saying? Like,
that's not what I do. I don't get online to post stuff just to be popular.
Just to be popular or to sell you something because that's what they turned that in.
Yes.
And I was like, oh. So years later, and I'm realizing, I'm like, y'all tried to pull me into that world. And I'm like, that's not what I was from the jump. I was never fit for this, you know? And I'm pretty sure I was probably like a little like, you know, like the great white horse a bit in the situation. So I'm like, they're probably just like this unique person because I wasn't just like sitting there like, I'm excited to be here.
Right.
I felt like, you know, I was excited to be there. Don't get me wrong. I was excited to travel and do those things. But at the end of the day, I didn't, you know, deteriorate myself for that room.
For that, right.
For those people in those rooms. And I remember like, I got into it with my director over there like a couple different times. I'm like, yo, like.
Because you felt like they were trying to push you to be something.
Yeah, and I'm like, why am I here? You know what I'm saying? Like, y'all want me, you know, and I realized like, you know, it's crazy. And I you know, it's all about perspective, right?
Yeah.
Even when they flew me to the UK to go do the Kendrick launch, I remember like being hella excited to go. Well, I look back on it and if I go back and read them emails, I'm like, oh, I was like the token black kid to be like, we took a kid from the hood to the UK.
Right. And it was more of a story likely for them than it was for
100%.
you.
That's
but
all it
a
was.
lot of times experience, because we didn't have the experience at the time, we don't know that that's actually what's happening.
Exactly. I can see through it now, like, clear as day if someone tried to like offer me that. But then I'm also confident enough to make the decision to be like, okay, I can just, let them have that value proposition. I'm going to go benefit it over this way.
Exactly.
But I went out there and I was working. You know what I'm saying? I didn't really, like, I had a good time and a good experience, but I was actually working for real. So for me, I'm like, all right, let me approach this differently. Let me, like, I'm sorry, after I did the experience and, like, that whole thing and then things got clipped, I started to be, like, able to review, just myself and, like, okay, what did I do right or wrong?
Yeah.
And it's like, when I start thinking like that, I'm like, see, they're trying to get me.
Well, yeah, because I was going to ask you, how are you defining right and wrong, right?
Exactly. It's like, and I say that to say, Bimma, I promise you, that was 16?
Okay.
That was, 5 years ago? The same approach, New Balance let us thrive through. And we sold out in a minute. And I'm not here to talk about the numbers.
No,
I'm just here to say, like, these things actually work when there's real attachments to it, and they work with the right people, because y'all always want to find that core person and community and customer. Y'all just drawing up numbers.
Right.
And if you just worry about numbers, it's going to just be digital, and y'all going to have no attachment to the community.
No emotional, no purposeful connection. It's
so
just anything.
It's just funny, that it's funny because it's actually my first time actually tying the two together.